Hello and welcome to the news brief for February 19th, GSN, and it is Lent. Hooray for Lent, woohoo! One of my favorite times of the year as we enter more deeply into our lives of virtue, of prayer, fasting, almsgiving. It's a great time to be a Catholic, great time to celebrate. And lots of spiritual activities are going on in our parish, and so welcome to the news brief, our first one for this season of Lent. What is happening? Well, one of the ways that you can give alms this Lent is remember that we have our Catholic Charities food truck collection this Saturday. It is from 5 to 6 p.m. on Saturday, February 20th, and Sunday, February 21st, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. So it's a great opportunity to fulfill this call to give alms and to support those who are in great need. There still is great need for that. Also, we are still doing the Newhouse Valentine collection to support. It's a domestic violence shelter, so it is to support those who are suffering from domestic violence. So that will also have this collection this coming weekend. This is a final weekend for that. This weekend is the first Sunday of Lent, and I've been announcing for several weeks the beginning of a new venture, a new Mass. It's our first Mass to add, since we added back the 5 p.m. Saturday Mass, we are adding a 4 p.m. Sunday bilingual Mass. And we are particularly trying to reach particularly the youth that really live in both worlds of English and Spanish. So I'm very excited about this possibility. It does not necessarily mean that the 5 p.m. Sunday Mass is gone completely forever. No, we're trying this now for Lent, and whether or not we stay at this time or we'll alter when we are out of this pandemic, we'll see. But I think that there is a great need, and I'm really optimistic about the potential that can happen with a bilingual Mass for the area. I've heard many people say that they're very excited about this possibility. It's a chance to bring our communities together, and it's a chance for people to really experience the Mass in a unique way. And for many, the idea is that hopefully speak their language, which is bilingual. I sometimes talk with folks, particularly the youth, and they're just going back and forth between English and Spanish. They're speaking Spanglish and whatnot, and it can be very confusing for those who don't speak both languages, but that's the language they are very accustomed to, just jumping back and forth. And so we want to have a Mass that kind of responds to that as well. So I'm excited about this possibility, and there's been a lot of planning that starts this Sunday. Everyone is welcome. And so remember, on the Mondays of Lent, we will be looking at The Cloister Walk by Kathleen Norris, one of my favorite books when I was in seminary. She has a beautiful poetic style of writing. I really enjoy the way that Kathleen Norris presents her material. So that will be Mondays via Zoom. Dr. Brian Hughes will be our presenter and taking us through The Cloister Walk. So Mondays during Lent, that is an option for you to grow in your spiritual life this Lent. During Lent, I will also be offering 4 books of the Bible, kind of a Lenten Bible study. I picked out these 4 books because they felt kind of Lentish. So here's the list. Job, that seems pretty Lenty. As well as we long for wisdom, we long for meaning, and we lament with our lamentations. So I thought this might be a good chance to look at those 4 books. What I've been doing in my Bible studies is I just take 1 book of the Bible per class usually, or session, and just dive into that as a little introduction. So it's not a deep dive, but a dive into kind of, well, what's in there? What's in this book? I've heard of this book called Wisdom or Ecclesiastes, but what's actually in there? That's what I try to do in these little Bible studies. Invited through Zoom or through Facebook, YouTube, there are options for you. And here's Mary Mueller with an update of some other events.
We are really excited to offer some new adult formation pieces this spring and launching them during Lent. One of the new offerings is Praying with the Saints. That will be hosted by Millie Hill every month. She will pick a saint and take a deep dive into that saint's spirituality and teachings and how they teach us about prayer and spirituality. We will be meeting on the fourth Wednesday of each month, beginning this Wednesday and continuing through June, and hopefully coming back in the fall. Millie is awesome. Check the website and get the Zoom link right there. We also have Cloister Walk coming up. Sign up on Flocknotes for the daily Lenten challenge and the weekly Gospel Reflections from Unbound. We look forward to seeing you there.
Lent is a great time to go to confession, and so we add a time during Lent. So from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, we have confessions, along with our normal time of 5 to 6 p.m. on Thursdays and 3:30 to 4:30 on Saturdays. So 3 periods of time. And then any other time that you might want to ask one of the priests, we are generally available, if possible, to hear confessions and to get you absolved of your sins. So we are adding the 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, the Wednesdays during Lent. So come get your sins forgiven and start anew. I love going to the Sacrament of Reconciliation. I love that newness. And one of the words, what Lent means, is a new springtime. So new life coming within us. So one of the great ways is to weed out the sin and put in the virtue, put in the grace. There are still some copies of that little black book that I had a prop last week, but I don't have it today. So it's just a book of little reflections for each day during Lent. And it's a beautiful reflection. Today's was about how to go to confession, actually. So they are available. They are in the vestibule. Please pick one up after Mass if you would like one. I think that's pretty much all the news that I have today for Good Shepherd. Some of the things were also in last week, so take a look at last week's. There's some good information in last week's episode as well. But let's enter into this Lent and let's really grow as a community. Let us grow in love of God and of neighbor. Let's really be who we are called to be. I've sometimes called Lent is like our on season. Enough of the preseason. Now we're like jumping into full what it means to be a Catholic. Let's live the way that we are called to live in faith and hope and love, and particularly achieving these through those Lenten practices of prayer and fasting and almsgiving. So up your prayer this Lent, up your fasting this Lent, and up your almsgiving this Lent. That doesn't necessarily mean give more to the church, but does mean give more of yourself, give more of your time, give more of your talent, give more of your treasure to those that you love and to those organizations or communities that you love. If they are important to you, we'll support them and give some more to those great organizations. So we're off and running. Happy Lent, and we'll see you next week.